Welcome to Choreography Basics class. Today's lesson is going to be on spatial awareness, specifically the shapes inside of it. So in our last lesson, we had the opportunity to use our body to make shapes. Today, instead, we're going to use the space around us to make shapes. I know each of you have had classes now that you've taken online and danced, and you've come across that one move that you can't exactly complete because the table's in the way or the door frame's in the way. That is another choreographic tool that artists will use. Sometimes it's with their scenery in a fantasy environment that they're creating. I'd like for you to think about pathways as you consider really how the space around you affects you. The first one is, imagine that you are being able to fly. Imagine the space that you're flying in. As you broaden your arms or wings and begin to fly through the space, what would you do if a building was coming? Would you go up over it, around it, under it, through it? Would you circle it a few times before you went on? And then as you swoop along, perhaps you come across a park. Would you go down into the park and go around the trees, skim over the water? Each of those kinds of spaces affect the way that you dance.
Can you hear my voice? Coming through the noise. I'm floating through outer space. I'm lost and I can't find a way. Oh, all the lights going dark and my hopes destroyed. Help me, is anybody there? Save me, I'm running out of air. Calling out.
Another pathway would be the road. When you're driving on a road, you may be moving forward in reverse, making right turns, left turns, going around the road or roundabout. These are pathways that you can draw on the stage. So you can create pathways that are zigzags. You can create pathways that are circles. You can even use, from a bird's eye view or the transverse plane, looking down, you can create letters, numbers, poems, just by moving your feet across the space. So whereas in the last lesson, you were learning how to use your body, isolate, make shapes with your body, now you're learning how to take those movements and move them zigzag across the floor.
Tricia was really pioneering choreographer and dancer. Her fascination with defying gravity and with rigor, with creating her own movement vocabulary that's completely unique.
We really saw this as an incredible opportunity to bring a legendary choreographer to Philadelphia outdoors for the first time. Philadelphia's parks and green spaces are incredible, and they're only richer when you bring choreography and the joyful movement of dance to them. We're really happy to provide those performances for free. We can't wait to see audiences respond to the movement, to seeing a landscape interpreted in a different way than they've seen it before.
This lesson also includes the opportunity for you to memorize the stage directions. So upstage is towards the back of the room. Downstage is towards the audience. Your right and your left are always going to be when you are on the stage. When you turn around, it's still going to be the same. The audience is called the house. So house right and left would be if you were sitting in the audience. But when you're on stage, facing the audience, it's your right and your left. No matter whether you're facing to the right, facing the left, or whether you're facing upstage, you're still going to be using the right and the left as if you were actually facing the audience. Your assignment today includes some inspiration from visual artists. I'm going to be sharing 9 different paintings with you, 3 different artists. You have Jackson Pollock, Piet Mondrian, and Wassily Kandinsky. The 3 artists all had different styles. Imagine that you are placing their painting on the floor underneath you, and then trace the steps that the lines and curves and splatters make. Take yesterday's phrase and put it with the pathway on the floor or in the sky that you're going to be creating today. So that means that you may need to do the phrase 2 or 3 times to be able to go from one side of the stage to the other. Your assignment should still have a beginning and an end. So it would be enter, do your phrase in the pathway of the air, do your phrase backwards in the pathway on the ground, and then end your dance by exiting. You can turn the video assignment in here, and you're welcome to pick whichever painting you'd like.